this is a key thing with a lot of people who resonate with me in my journey. Harmony is important, but not at the risk of you losing your own sanity. Not at the cost of your well-being. Sometimes harmony is actually a burden, because you will find yourself trying to be the peacekeeper all the time. And the downside to that is whoever you're dealing with was trying to keep peace, they never get to see themselves behave in these shadow ways, because you're protecting, you're trying to predict their needs, how they're going to behave before they do, and you're doing everything that you can to, avoid certain confrontations and things happening. So a lot of times they think that they're okay because they don't see all the invisible work that you do to keep peace. So when you stop doing that, there may be some breakdowns and some meltdowns and some conflict, but this is a necessary part of healing from people pleasing and codependency. And for so many of us, especially women, like the number one thing that we need and yearn for is safety. So we became people pleasers and codependents, hoping to create safety. But we've been doing it at the expense of our own well-being. This full moon lunar eclipse is saying no to that. So I'm going to talk about some ways that you can keep peace without being self-sacrificing, to be able to take better care of yourself. Maybe if there's a confrontation, you could use the R team that I've talked about, and I'm going to be giving more information about. But the R team is the first thing, which is to remove yourself from the confrontation. You don't have to explain. Over-explaining is another one of those codependent, people-pleasing things that come up. And I know it come up for me so quick, where I'm just observing myself and I'm disgusted and I'm just wondering, why am I giving so much energy to explain this? This person is triggered right now. I'm triggered, and it's just not going to land. So you will be able to pull yourself away from over-explaining. Remove yourself and just say, I need a moment. Remove yourself. That's the first R. And the next R is to regulate, right? What do you do to regulate? For me, working with the goddesses, working with my ancestors, my spirit guides, that's my number one way to regulate. So what do you do to regulate? Do that. If you don't have a routine to help you regulate, consider booking a reading with me, and I will help you create a routine to help you regulate. These are some of the things that you could try to get regulated. But that's one of the things that I do to regulate. The next R is to reframe the situation. Use a positive reframe. So an example could be, maybe you were supposed to do something and you never got around to it. And the other person is kind of complaining about it. And you get triggered because you're tired, you haven't been feeling well, you had a lot of other things to do, and you don't have help. So reframe that. Okay, they're triggered because I didn't get this thing done that I said that I would do. I'm triggered because I really have more on my plate than I can handle. Well, a positive reframe is, this is a moment that's showing me that I say yes to too many things, and I maybe have been operating in superwoman syndrome, and it's time for me to address that so that I don't begin to destroy my health. And people expect me to do more than I'm really capable of. That's a positive reframe. And after you reframe it, you can return to the conversation when you feel ready. provided that they are ready and they are regulated. They have had some time to calm down. And then you can work through it to get to a resolution. The next R. Okay? So I'm going to be teaching more of this in my 8 years of being in a sacred union where we both had levels of trauma that wasn't uncovered until we got together. Yeah, I've learned so much, and I'm going to be very soon revealing something that has been so transformational for us. So yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Just a little tease, a little plug, but I'm telling you, if you're listening to me now, it's just definitely something you want to tap into. Because 8-9 years is a long time for our generation. The previous generations make it 20-30 years and we would just be so blown away. But if we can make it to 5, statistics say, you're part of the few. So, okay. Now, you want to make sure that your wholeness is being fully experienced. Maybe you need to inspect, what are you doing, and is it making you feel whole or is it making you feel broken? Regardless of your relationship status. If the past weeks have been positive since the new moon, you might be experiencing a sense of higher self-worth. And maybe even deepening your connections with people because your heart feels open to expand. Your compassion and empathy may be amplified and more pronounced because this is definitely triggering us to be more sensitive. Now, if you're an empath, which is someone who absorbs other people's emotional energy, oftentimes unknowingly, this is the time for boundaries. And this is the time for spending time alone. This is the time for spiritual baths. This is the time for doing your benzoin or your Palo Santo or your sage and just clearing out the energy within the room. Getting some body work to help release energy. These are some things that you can be doing as an empath, because I find lunar eclipses to be really overwhelming for me as an empath. And being a recovering codependent on top of that, and someone who is hypervigilant and also an Akashic record reader, because I'm of the Oracle bloodline, I am hyper attuned to everybody's needs. And I know what people need before they know that they need it. And I oftentimes meet the need before they are aware that the need needs to be met. And this was my system of safety since I was a child. To meet people's needs, meet them where they are, fix things, save people, and I'm safe. But that has created so much difficulty with my health, with my life, my mental health, my ability to be consistent. You know, if you're always attuned to other people's needs, it's going to be hard to be consistent in meeting your own. So I'm speaking from experience. Now, in the midst of enjoying your relationships, if that's you and you're feeling pretty content, be mindful of potential challenges because of the heightened sensitivity. It won't just be you. If it's not you, people around you are going to be hypersensitive. The unrealistic ideas that I talk about, some of those illusions may get blasted open. Lack of boundaries, areas where you overgive, and codependency. If things haven't been going well lately, focus on self-love, seeking that higher love, that higher ground to overcome self-judgment and external pressures. The current full moon and eclipse may also be bringing in more ability to acknowledge the shadow. You know, allow yourself to feel the emotions, because I find that the shadow self is an emotional conduit, and it conduits the emotions that we sometimes have not faced, and the purpose is for us to see that we can do it.